Devotion to me is always now. Taken from Recognition of Me is Liberation by Adi Da Samraj. The practice of the only by me revealed and given radical reality way of the heart, or radical reality way of Adi Dam, is, from the beginning, the ego-transcending discipline, or right disciplining, of the egoic self, by means of right to me responsive and thus and thereby really ego-forgetting relationship to me, avatarically self-manifested here, in and as my divinely avatarically born, bodily human divine form and person. The practice of the only by me revealed and given radical reality way of the heart, or radical reality way of Adi Dam, is not at all a matter of believing in some kind of ego-consoling message. Rather, the practice of the only by me revealed and given radical reality way of the heart, or radical reality way of Adi Dam, is a whole bodily discipline whereby the egoic self, or the apparently separate self, or the presumed to be separate and therefore actively separative body-mind complex, is, in all of its separateness and separativeness, transcended. Therefore, as my devotee, you must always activate and thus and thereby actively live that ego-transcending discipline, or else the egoic pattern of separateness and of active separativeness is itself inevitably perpetuated and always activated. That, in due course, perfectly ego-transcending discipline is the only by me revealed and given radical reality way of the heart, or radical reality way of Adi Dam. And the devotional relationship to me is the very basis, means, import, and real purpose of that, in due course, perfectly ego-transcending discipline. As my devotee, you must never relate to me as a mere and merely separate other, or even the separate other, in relationship to whom you presume to have the right to dramatize the actively separative patterns of your ego bondage. Right devotional relationship to me is a specific and really effectively ego-transcending practice, which is entirely about me, and not at all about the ego I of any devotee, or otherwise about the collective egoity of the total gathering, or any part of the total gathering of my devotees. That specific and really effectively and ultimately most perfectly ego-transcending practice of right devotional relationship to me is necessarily founded in devotional recognition of me and a devotional response to me, and altogether in rightness of relationship to me, in and as my divinely avatarically born, bodily human divine form and person. Right devotional relationship to me, in and as my divinely avatarically born, bodily human divine form and person, is not any form of merely conventional right or merely socially correct behavior. Rather, right individual and collective devotional relationship to me, in and as my divinely avatarically born, bodily human divine form and person, requires and is the persistently enacted ego-transcending discipline or right disciplining of the egoic self. Therefore, in and by means of this specific devotional discipline, my devotees, both individually and collectively, must always transcend and never indulge in egoic behavior in relation to me, in and as my divinely avatarically born, bodily human divine form and person. This ego-transcending devotional discipline of the ego self must always be maintained by my devotees, both individually and collectively. The practice of the only by me revealed and given radical reality way of the heart, or radical reality way of Adi Da, does not begin sometime in the future after you have fulfilled some level of yet ego active preparation. Right and really ego transcending devotional relationship to me, in and as my divinely avatarically born bodily human divine form and person, is inherently and necessarily always now. Therefore, once you formally embrace the eternal vow of devotional relationship to me, and thus and thereby become a formal practitioner of the only by me revealed and given radical reality of the heart, or radical reality of Adi Da, the practice of the only by me revealed and given radical reality of the heart, or radical reality way of Adi Da, is always now. The really ego-transcending discipline of the egoic self, by means of right devotional relationship to me, in and as my divinely avatarically born bodily human divine form and person, always pertains now. And that discipline of the egoic self is not something that you do to the egoic self. Rather, that ego-transcending devotional discipline of the egoic self is always right and rightly enacted, and always ego-forgetting relationship to me, in and as my divinely avatarically born, bodily human divine form and person. The individual and collective doings of my devotees will have their right intended result as forms of right and potentially me realizing service to me only if my devotees are enacting right ego-transcending discipline of the egoic self by means of right devotional relationship to me, in and as my divinely avatarically born bodily human divine form and person, and only if that right and really ego-transcending devotional discipline is always practiced in the present time moment, always now and now and now. Otherwise, any and all of the doings of my devotees, however rightly intended, will be nothing but ego extensions. The practice of the only by me revealed and given radical reality of the heart, or radical reality of Adi Da, is never a matter of merely being committed to and working toward future rightness. Rather, the practice of the only by me revealed and given radical reality way of the heart, or radical reality way of Adi Da, is the always present time enactment of right and really ego forgetting, and thus and thereby really ego transcending discipline of the egoic self, by means of right and really to me responding devotional relationship to me, in and as my divinely avatarically born bodily human divine form and person. Thus, that by me given practice transcends egoity moment to moment through a unique devotional and ego-forgetting discipline of the four principal faculties of the body-mind complex. Therefore, that by me given practice must always be done, and it must never be modified, revised, or avoided.